Hi, this is TapCat. Welcome back to my ongoing quest to build the ultimate theme park, TapCatLand. Now we're going to start things off by taking care of some old business here. A long time ago, we decided to stop using these sandstone walkways and also use wider walkways. I couldn't afford wide paths when we first started. We had so little money back then. So since I wanted to go ahead and finish the circular hub here in the middle of the park anyway, I thought might as well just take the opportunity and kind of clean the whole thing up. So let's go ahead and finish this off. Now, I am keeping it at 8 meters, and I'm hoping I don't regret that. Early on, we didn't have the money to do anything past, the bare minimum. Now we could go bigger. But I think for the entrance, the traffic won't get so bad that we need it bigger. Like I say, I hope I don't regret it. Now, obviously, we just need to fix all the bins and benches and whatnot and kind of straighten that out, and we'll be good to go. And now we come to the main purpose of this installment, which is to work on our new tropical area. So I said last time I was thinking about expanding our little lagoon, and I did. I just pushed it out a little farther, give it some breathing room around the ship and everything. But I'm also going to place something new here, specifically a lighthouse. This is something that from the very beginning, when I thought about putting a significant sized body of water in the area, I knew I wanted to do this. I think it'll really help add some charm and character to the place. And I like it. So I'm still not sure this is as big as it ought to be, but I think since we aren't doing a complete park all around the idea of tropical, we're probably going to have to, not go quite as big as we might otherwise. Speaking of going big, we are going to try something a little different. We're going to place another ride from the Steam Workshop, but I'm going to elevate this one. And we're going to build, mountain is probably too grandiose a word for it, but we're going to put it on elevated ground, okay? So, having, kind of picked our spot, we're going to shape the terrain underneath it and lift it up. And I'm not sure exactly what this is going to look like. I guess it's possible that it won't come out well at all. But I choose to be more hopeful than that. And so we're just going to fill it in. Now, the way the game works, this will not come up flush with it, okay? It's going to stop. You see that? It kind of forms a little protective bubble around it. But that's okay. I have a plan for that. And we're starting off with pretty sheer walls, but I'm not going to leave it that way. We're going to extend it out so that there's at least somewhat of a slope. Now I am in, a relatively constricted quarters. If we had, if we were going to do this entire theme park in tropical, then I might make a literal mountain, at least by the scale of the park. But as it is, we're going to keep it a little bit more modest, so it'll slope out, but it's not going to come way out. I just can't afford to burn that much space on pure ambiance. Now, before I go any further on shaping the hill, here's the thing. I need to get the entrance and the exits placed, and then build the paths down. Because the problem is, if I don't do that, I won't really know for sure if whatever slope I end up with will accommodate the path. I don't really want to just have free floating stairs coming down. To the extent that it's possible, I would like the path to be on the ground, on the hill. I don't know for a fact if that'll work, but we're going to give it a try. So I'm going to just burn through building the paths as quick as I can, and then we'll go on from there. So it's showtime, And it doesn't look like I'm realistically going to be able to hug this hill. I kind of am, and I think it looks okay. I'm going to stop here. It doesn't, like, at least I'm not way high above it. I've actually been more worried about whether I can manage to get the exit queue through here safely. The scenery for the ride itself was kind of in the way. So it looks like we're going to make it okay, but I really wasn't sure that would be the case. I also have to say, you know, like, those stairs coming down are all right. This may be something that I should take another look at, though, in a future installment. Is this really how we want it to look? I'm not too sure. But with that done, now I am going to try and smooth out this hill. We also are going to need to paint it. And unfortunately, as I've pointed out before, on this map, we can't use like a really lush green grass paint, but we can make it darker green. But before we get to that point, we're going to just try and first make it seem less rocky. And so that isn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do, but I'd say we are making some progress. And then, as I said, we're just going to go over this whole thing with a coat of the darker green. I'm going to do the hill and then just right around the foot. Ultimately, we may do quite a bit of this area. I'm not really sure how far we're going to go with it. There may be some areas that we want to have the kind of sandy beach appearance, some that we want more lush vegetation. I don't really have a clear picture for the entire area. It's not ideal, but I am kind of doing this one piece at a time. We're done with the smoothing, we're done with the painting, but we're not done. So I thought about a couple of ways to address these gaps that I'm leaving, because I couldn't raise the ground up flush with this ride. The best way, though, is to fill in the gaps with rocks similar to the ones that are already here. And you may be telling yourself, wow, that seems like it would take a lot of rocks. Yes, it would. So it's going to take time. It is what it is. For your benefit, I will be speeding this up and probably even clipping some out. But, I really want this to look good. And I think the most seamless way to integrate it is to fill in these gaps. Now, I could have tried selecting this whole thing and moving it, lift the hill up, and put it back. Kind of similar to what I did with the Pirates of the Caribbean ride we did last time. I just feel like it's not necessarily as well suited for that. This one has a lot more contours and shaping to it. And anyway, this is what we're going to do. So I sure hope it works, because it's going to really stink if it doesn't. I'm actually reasonably happy with the boulder placement now, so we're going to start our next project, which is, as you can see, vegetation. It would be of tremendous help if I could just have some lush looking grass on the ground, but as I explained earlier, that's not going to happen. So the only other way I can think of to make this appear to be a tropical paradise is to do it the hard way. And that is place a bunch of plants. Now, somewhat similar to when we did the Old West, my intent is pretty simple. Take, a wide variety of plants and kind of scatter them. I don't want a lot of one thing all bunched together. And of course, we're only going to place plants that look tropical, so there will not be any cacti here. I'm not going to put oak trees down in the middle of this. But we've got all kinds of flowering plants and palms and stuff, and we can put those down well enough. I'm also not going to do all 4 sides, at least not for now. To the best of my knowledge at the moment, there will be 2 sides of this hill that guests will see on a routine basis. This one that we're putting it on now, and then the one over here on the other side of the path. Now, it may be that I'll have walkways and things that would affect one of the 2 other sides, like people would be able to see it from there. And then I will definitely populate, those areas as well with vegetation. But even in real theme parks, like Disney, they don't build out visuals for things that their guests will never see. They just don't do that. It's silly to invest the time and money. So we'll see. I mean, if I do it later for the rest of it, it would just be kind of for my own enjoyment, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. And it could happen. But in the meantime, we're just going to keep peppering this slope and try to see. I don't really know exactly how much is enough. I could probably really go deep and just have a ton of this crap. But I'm going to try and be a little bit more sane. So we're going to move on to the other larger slope. But this time I want to start with trees, because what I'm thinking is we're going to do kind of a progression where we put the palms at the top of the hill. And obviously this becomes our highest point. And then we'll have a lot fewer of them down low. And more of what I put down low, I want to be the miniature palms, and leave the really tall ones primarily at the top to emphasize their height. And then we'll put the smaller shrubs, down on the slope. So I really want to try and give this area a green, lush feel. And I don't know, this is the only way I know to do it. The more time I spend looking at this path, the more I just can't take it. It's hideous. I was kind of trying to work with the contour of the hill. It did not work. And so I am going to go ahead and just tear both of these down and try and rebuild. And I think we'll just go straight. I was tempted to try another run at shaping it, but I just am not prepared to spend like 10 hours or 20 hours to perfectly shape and sculpt this hill and then, do the path, assuming that I could even get it to work, which I really don't know. So we're going to do that. It took some shaping of the hill after all, but net we ended up with straight paths, and if they don't look amazing, I don't think they look terrible. I'm just going to clean up that one spot where the turf shows through, and I think we're going to call it good from there. Good enough. But wait, there's more. So our work is never done, and in this instance, actually, rather than more work, I think it's time for a little play. So what we're going to do is get on this ride. I realized that I have not done that yet. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever been on a water rapids ride before. One thing I've noticed in Planet Coaster is they just don't have the level of splashing and water coming into the boat that you get in real life. I think the nature of the way water effects work, and waterfalls in particular, it's just a lot more limited. Like, water doesn't interact with anything else. So you're not going to see it come into the boat and splash people and get them wet. Now, I realize these are just kind of crash test dummies, but even real people, you wouldn't suddenly see their clothes get wet or anything. But nonetheless, you know, we're kind of bobbing around out here. The scenery is very nice, by the way. Like, look at that tree with those bulbs hanging down and the flowers right behind us. I mean, again, as I say for pretty much all of these, the original creator really did a marvelous job. Now, of course, I'm only downloading ones that I think look really good from the Steam Workshop. There's other people that have done less ambitious projects. But boy, the people who really put their heart and soul into it, I mean, you could tell because it shows. Like that tree that we just passed that kind of had the jack-o'-lantern face, that was cool looking. You know, I don't know. I really love small detail like that. I love it in real theme parks, and I love it in this game as well. So overall, basically, this ride is less about the splashing that you would get in a real rapids ride and more about seeing some really nice scenery. And so I'm down with that, and I think our guests will be as well. Okay, so we have completed our ride, and the one thing that I have decided to do is to spend a little more time putting more vegetation down. I really want this, you know, I won't say as dense as it can be because I would virtually never stop putting stuff down. But I feel like it is still a little sparse and we could use more. So I'm going to do that. And with the magic of video editing, I will see you in 1 second. And I think that's going to do it for now. I actually am not truly done in this area. I have some ideas for some more, but that's going to do it for now. So thanks for watching. I hope we see you next time.